Hello everyone, today is January the 17th and I'm a fucking idiot because I thought the expansion was going to drop on the 25th. So I'm completely unprepared, I had only enough gold to get 40 packs, I like round numbers, sue me, I didn't want to get 46. So today I'll be opening these 40 packs, talking about some of the cards. I already made a video on the 50 cards I'm actually interested in. But since then, I've seen one or two more that kind of piqued my interest, so let's see if I can get some good cards. And let's get right into it. I'll try to go as fast as possible through these and only talk about the cards that seem relevant. So, I talked about this card already, pretty decent as long as you can target two different creatures, obviously an opponent's creature as well. Ministrant of Obligation, 3 drop, 2-1, garbage. Let's see what the good card is. It's the mutant. Fuck, I don't even want to play Simic, that's the green and blue. But this mutant is pretty fucking good. I'm going to try it out, definitely. An amazing card. So, Vindictive Vampire. Jesus Christ, 4 drop, that's 2 and 3. Whenever another creature you control dies, this deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. So slow, so bad. No. Okay, white and blue, this is going to be more powerful. 4 mana, draw 2 cards. If you cast the spell during your main phase, gain 2 life. Not too bad, but aggressively mediocre, I would say. Summary Judgment. 2 mana, deals 3 damage to target tapped creature. Garbage, you can seal that creature away instead. That's infinite damage. Addendum, if you cast the spell during your main phase, it deals 5 damage instead. Why would you cast this during your turn? It's an instant spell. Garbage. Complete garbage. Imperious Oligarch. 2 mana of the difficult kind, so you're likely not playing this on turn 2, possibly. Vigilance, Afterlife 1, 2-1. The Afterlife mechanic, yeah, it says on the left, is the flying token. Ugh, fucking garbage. Orzhov cards this expansion are just garbage. Justicar's Portal, 2 mana, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. It gains first strike until end of turn. But why? Seems too random, or I don't understand this card. It could be good, but I don't get it. Why you would ever want to do this? You could rescue your own creature if it was trapped by a COA maybe. But I don't even know. Do you even control that creature at that point? I don't think so. So, 1 good card out of the first pack. Potentially 2 cards if you count this one. So, after this pack, I'm going to turn on the sound. I just now realized the sound is pretty low. 4 mana, other creatures you control with flying get 0 and 1. Why though? I guess this has some synergy with the new Azor card that lets your creatures attack with their toughness instead of their power. Maybe, I don't know. Fucking looks weak though. Scrabbling Claws, target player exiles a card from their graveyard, seems weak. Exile target card from a graveyard, draw a card. Too slow, too random. I don't know why you would use this. Great, common wild card. 5 mana, hexproof, horrible stats, no. Burning Tree Vandal, 3 mana, riot, whenever Burning Tree Vandal attacks you may discard a card and draw a card. 3 mana, and it's going to have 3/2 stats. Maybe not too bad. Let me think about this for a second. I don't have this card listed in my top 50, worth mentioning. With the riot mechanic, this could actually be pretty good. I'd say aggressively mediocre, not bad though. Simic Wocket, no. Stony Strength, put a 1/1/1 counter on target creature you control and tap that creature. Too weak. Not worth the card. Haha, Unbreakable Formation. I actually saw this card and debated including it. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. If you cast the spell during your main phase, put a 1/1 counter on each of those creatures and they gain vigilance. So, as long as you cast this during the main phase, it's basically a free attack. They can't really block you. I think this card has potential. I don't know why I decided not to list it. I guess I liked 50 as a number. But it's a pretty cool mechanic. I would love to try it out, honestly. I should have included this in my top 50. It's a pretty cool card. Now, let's turn on the sound maybe, so we can hear those amazing sound effects. 38 to go, let's go. I got distracted just a second. Eyes everywhere. 3 mana at the beginning of your upkeep, scary 1. Okay, that's decent. Exchange and target non-land permanent. Why? For 3 mana, a slightly weaker disinformation campaign that you don't have to bounce. I don't know why I compared it with disinformation campaign, obviously does something else entirely. I'd say mediocre to good, not sure. Carnival, I was going to include this card, but I cut it out of my video. Carnival deals 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker and 1 to the permanent's controller. I don't think this is worth the card, honestly. There are more powerful ways to do this in red, so that's why I didn't include this. I like the left part of the card. The right part is just expensive. 4 mana to deal 3 damage to target opponent, and he discards 2 cards. But honestly, you don't really care about his cards, and that's... I might be underestimating this card. Let's be fair. I think this is potentially decent. Maybe in a Rakdos mid-range deck, I would put this in, actually. So, in a Rakdos mid-range deck, I think this is pretty decent, so this is a good card, I think. And when you have to choose between 2 versions of a card, it's always better than just an average card, since you have 2 options, clearly, for 1 slot. Act of Treason, this is the same card from the M19 set, pretty fun card to use, but not that powerful. Axebane Beast, cool art, but average card. Gateway Plaza, same in the M19 set, nothing to talk about. Clear the Mind, the anti-Mew card in blue, of course, because why the fuck not? Fuck blue. So fucking powerful. Going to be playing that a lot, definitely. Fairy Duelist, another blue card, 2 mana, 1/2, flash flying, pretty good already. Enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls, gets -2/-0. Aggressively mediocre, I would say. Decent though, decent. Yes! Hero of the Precinct 1. I wanted this card, it was in my top 50. So whenever you cast a multicolored spell, so that's creatures and spells, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Perfect. I wanted this for my Selesnya and my Boros. I definitely want to try a deck out with at least 2 of these. Let's keep moving. Let's keep this video under an hour, possibly. I was going to put in Mortify, but I am just so disappointed with Orzhov. Destroy target creature or enchantment. You could run this. There are a lot of enchantments as of late, so you could definitely run this. I'd say this is a good card. Essence Capture. 2 mana, counter target creature spell. Of course you do. Of course blue gets another way to counter a spell. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. So not just until the end of the turn. I don't know how I skipped this. I guess blue just has too many overpowered cards. I didn't want to make the entire video about blue. This is good. I would say I would run this. Only 2 mana in mono blue, why the fuck not? And you get a free 1/1 counter. Most counter spells are 3 mana, and this counters creatures only, which I guess is the weakness, but gives you a 1/1 counter, why not? There are better counter spells, but I would still give this a try. Pestilent Spirit, this is another card I listed in my top 50. Menace and Death Touch, instant and sorcery spells you control have Death Touch. 3/2, perfect for the 3 mana slot. No complaints, this is a pretty awesome card, I'm going to use it. Azorius Night Arbiter. Azorius Night Arbiter can be blocked. This is pretty powerful, because if you use the Azor card that lets you attack with your toughness stat, when you can't block this creature, it's going to hit for 5 damage per turn, so that's 4 turns until you lose the game from just this card. It's 5 mana though, so it's not cheap. It has Vigilance, which is also cool. I'd say this is a good card. I didn't put it in because I think it's slightly more mediocre than good. It's slightly too expensive and depends on the combo. Entirely depends on the combo. I guess that's why it's mediocre in my eyes. Goblin Gathering, 3 mana, create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to 2 plus the number of cards named Goblin Gathering in your graveyard. This is one of the shittest cards in the entire set. No need to even explain. If you just understand simple math, it's also a sorcery. Fuck this card. Complete and utter garbage. Rakdos Trumpeter. Menace Rakdos Trumpeter gets +2 and 0 until end of turn if you pay 4 mana. 4 mana though, too expensive, I'd say mediocre. And I just wanted to mention Goblin Gathering, if any of you thinks that you could use that Goblin Commander that sacrifices a Goblin and then deals 2 damage, Jesus Christ, that guy is 5 mana, this is 3 mana, that's just such an expensive and ineffective combo. There are much more better ways to play the game. Fuck this card, absolute garbage. Growth Spiral. 1 green mana, 1 blue mana, draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. Amazing card, I can't believe this is common. Basically this card says, play 2 lands per turn and draw a card. Jesus fucking Christ, amazing, amazing card. Frenzied Arynx, 4 mana, Riot and Trample, basically becomes 4/4 with Trample. Frenzied Arynx gets +3/0 until end of turn, but you have to pay 6 mana. I think this is mediocre at best, not impressive at all. Pretty decent pack though. I got this card, which is amazing, it was in my top 50, and this card. And some cards I would try out. 36 to go, I'm talking too much. I'm going to lose my voice by the end of this video. So we already talked about this mediocre card, that's alright. Concordia Pegasus, 2 mana, flying 1/3, average. Arrester's Zeal, 1 mana. Target creature gets 2/2 until end of turn. If you cast the spell during your main phase, that creature gains flying until end of turn. Some cool evasion, some boosted stat. Average to good, I would say. Not bad, maybe could be good in a beatdown deck. Steeple Creeper gains flying until end of turn for 4 mana though. There are so many easier ways to do this, and only 2 HP means any removal spell kills this. A 1 mana shock kills this. Fuck that. Skitterio, hilarious art. Jesus Christ. Adapt 2 for another 3 mana. Feels mediocre. Whatever. Borwak, 1 Crusher, 5 mana. Remove a 1/1 counter from a creature you control. This guy deals 2 damage to any target. Ugh, how slow and pathetic. Awful. Gru has so many good cards in this expansion. This is just a garbage card. Flames of the Race Boar, 6 mana. I am already losing interest as soon as I saw the 6 mana. Deals 4 damage to a target creature an opponent controls, then deals 2 damage to each other creature that player controls if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Too many conditions. And this card initially reminded me of a Flame Strike in Duel of Champions, but then I honestly understand this game is different than Duel of Champions, so this card just isn't good. 6 mana, too expensive. Too many conditions, not good. Theater of Horrors. I didn't put this card in my top 50, and that was a mistake. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. So what this card does is every single turn you're going to be drawing 2 cards. So, and it's going to remember all the cards you exiled under it. So unless someone destroys your enchantment, during your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play cards exiled with Theater of Horrors. So you're going to draw 2 cards per turn, amazing in aggro decks. This card is pretty awesome. The 4 mana Theater of Horrors deals 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker is absolutely useless, but this card enables you to draw 2 cards per turn, amazing in aggro, phenomenal card, I'll definitely run it. My bad for not putting it into the top 50. Uncommon wild card, might be the best card here. We already talked about the useless creeper, we already talked about this card being average. Hasda Officer. When Hasda Officer enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets 1/1 until end of turn. Aggressively mediocre to good. Better 3 drops, honestly. This isn't good enough to put in a deck, I think. Could be cool in draft though. 10 District Veteran, 3 mana. Whenever it attacks, untap another target creature you control. Why would your creature be tapped? I don't get it. Aggressively mediocre or just bad. Honestly feels just bad. Dead Revos, 4 mana. Spectacle cost is 2 mana. If an opponent lost life, you can pay 2 mana, okay. 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. I guess if you don't want to play Golgari, this can be a cute card to use, but feels aggressively mediocre to good. And we already talked about this card. Too long, didn't read. 2 mana, I was going to put this in but changed my mind. Each opponent can cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Honestly, I don't understand this card. This might be good, but seems kind of nonsensical. I don't understand this card. If it's good, let me know. So, Collision and Colossus, amazing card. I'm going to put it into my Grow deck. I already talked about this in my top 50. Why wouldn't you run this? The left card, Collision, basically kills anything that has flying. Most flying creatures don't have more than 6 life. Colossus, target creature gets +4/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Amazing effect to beat people down with. And both these effects cost only 2 mana. Amazing. Gore Clan Wrecker, 4 mana, Riot Menace, Pathetic. Quench, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2 mana. Why would you want to let your opponent be able to pay that 2 mana? There are better counter spells than this. Gift of the Strength, 2 mana, target creature gets 3/3 and gains reach until end of turn. Aggressively mediocre to good. Maybe it's good, I wouldn't run it though. Titanic Bro, what a cool art. 2 mana, this spell costs 1 less to cast if it targets a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Okay, so it costs 1 mana. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So it's just Prey. Wasn't Prey 1 mana? Why would you ever run this? This is garbage. Macabre Mockery. I love the art on the Rakdos cards. Put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gets +2/+0 and gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So for 4 mana you can pull out something amazing, but you have to attack with it, and if you can't use it this turn to win the game, you just lose. 4 mana. Aggressively mediocre, I would say. Though, if you target some cards, this thing can be amazing. Situationally, I can see this work, but I would say mediocre. I'm not a dreamer. I just got the best card in the set, any card. Okay, let's keep going, only 33 to go. What is this? Spire Mangler, 3 mana, Flash Flying, 2/1, already looks bad. Enters the battlefield, target creature with flying you control gets +2/0 until end of turn, garbage. Already talked about this, garbage. Under City's Embrace, 3 mana, target opponent sacrifices a creature. They get to pick the creature. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you gain 4 life. Garbage. Viscopa Vampire, what a weird name. Lifelink, 3 mana, 3/1, garbage. Wrecking Beast, 7 mana, why though? Rat and Trample, garbage. Could it be a finisher though? 7 mana, garbage. We talked about this card, Spear Spewer, 1 mana, Defender, Spear Spewer deals 1 damage to each player, why? Garbage. Azorius, 7 mana though, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. If you cast the spell during your main phase, you may put a permanent card with converted mana cost 7 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. Why would you want your opponent to draw 7 cards? Garbage. This is a mythic. Fuck me. Why? Literally. Why would you run this? Maybe I don't understand something. Could be possible, but this looks garbage. I love the art. Let's see. Light up the stage, 3 mana. Spectacle is 1 mana. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Interesting. Hmm. So if it's lands, you can play them immediately. I overlooked this card. I could try it out and see if I'm right. So you hit your opponent in the face, you play this card for 1 mana, and if you draw a land in one of those 2 cards, potentially you get to put it down if you haven't played a land this turn. Or you could just play a land from the exile next turn. This card has potential. I would say this is a good card, honestly. Let's see, the Angel, 6 mana, already looks weak. Flying, when Archway Angel enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each gate you control. How many gates are you going to have though? Feels weak, aggressively weak. Blade Juggler, I like this card actually, for the spectacle cost of course. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to you and draws a card. Pretty nice card for aggro, I would run it. I'm going to run it, most likely. Civic Stalwart, the Elephant King. When Civic Stalwart enters the battlefield, creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. It's 4 mana, you're basically paying 1 mana for the effect. 2 cards for 1 basically, there's a 1 mana card that does this effect. It's mediocre or just bad, honestly. I just like the art too much, maybe that's why I'm going easy on it. Koro Commando, 3 mana, 3/2, garbage. Skewer the Critics. I actually think this card is decent. It's a sorcery though, that's the only weakness. And only if you play it for the 1 mana cost, of course. Deals 3 damage to any target, obviously. It was in my top 3. I think this card is so mediocre. I don't know why you would run this. X and 2 extra mana. Whenever you cast the spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards. Rounded down each time. Flying and trample. How much mana are you going to play this for? Feels fucking weak. Feels weak and slow. I don't know. If there's a deck for this, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Green and blue play aggressively. This isn't an aggressive card at all. Maybe it will have potential moving forward, but not now. Cool. Uncommon wild card. I like the Guild Mage from Gru. For the target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. I hope it just stays an elemental creature and just has the haste until end of turn. It's still a land, of course. Let's open this, so it shuts up with the lightning effect. Judith, the Scourge Diva, I didn't include this, let's see what it does. Legendary creature, I already don't like that. 3 mana for 2/2. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. This reminds me of a pirate card. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, she deals 1 damage to any target. Not bad. Feels kind of weak though. Why wouldn't they just remove this with a 1 mana spell? And why should they remove this? This feels like a much weaker... what's it called? The defender that has 0 and 4 and every time you cast a spell you do 1 damage to your opponent. Like, what kind of deck would you run this in that tries to control the board by dealing 1 damage to creatures? If you run this in an aggro deck, I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, I think this is just bad, actually. My bad. I think this is just bad. So, Rampaging, Red Horn, Riot, 4/4 for 5 mana, garbage. Scorchmark, 2 mana, deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead. 2 mana in red, fuck off, garbage. Titanic Bro, we already talked about this. Why would you use a worse spray? Humongous, we talked about this, pretty garbage. Get to the point, 5 mana, destroy target creature, scurry 1. Aggressively garbage, honestly. Looks funny. In concept, feels funny, looks funny, isn't... I don't see why this is a black and red card. This feels like a blue card because of the scurry. Whatever, garbage. Okay. Only 30 to go. Skatewing Spy. 4 mana. 2-3 for 4 mana. Fuck this card. Each creature you control with a 1-1 counter has flying. So much evasion though. This is mediocre to good. I still think I don't like it, but it could be good. I could be underestimating this card. Gate Colossus. I didn't include any neutral cards in my review. I could have included this one in a gimmicky gate build. You still have only 4 of these cards in your deck though. It has some small amount of potential, I would say. Maybe a pass from me. Could be good in some 3-color decks that use gates for some reason. Deputy of Detention, 3 mana, 1-3. Enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls and no other non-land permanents that player controls with the same name. Until this card leaves the battlefield though, so as soon as they kill him they go back. I think this is mediocre. Persistent Petitioners. Fuck this card, fuck Blues Mill, I'll definitely be using this card. Feels so incredibly overpowered. I'm hoping someone tested this so it's actually appropriately balanced, that the top 4 untapped advisors is good enough so people can just run you over with Mill now. I hope this is balanced, but if it isn't, I'm going to abuse it to the fullest because I have no honor, as my For Honor series entails. Arrester's Admonition. What the fuck is this word? 3 mana. Return target creature to its owner's hand for 3 mana though. Feels weak. If you cast this during your main phase, draw a card. Less flexible than the other return cards to your opponent's hand. I like the other card that costs 4 mana, but you can cast it and also draw a card whenever you want, not just during your turn. This is basically a sorcery, the way it's worded. It's not an instant really. Axebane Beast, we talked about it, cool art. Prowling Carcow, 3-1, 2 mana. Garbage. 29 to go. Thirsting Shade. Me when I am not getting any views. Lifelink, 1-1. Gets 1-1 until end of turn if you pay 3 mana. Garbage. Garbage. Resolute Watchdog. Oh, so cute. Defender. Sacrifice it. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Oh, this is a much better defender than the other one. That's 2-1 and can sacrifice itself for only 1 creature that you target. This is more defensive though. I think this is mediocre to good. Not bad. Frilled Mystic. Garbage. I can't believe people were considering playing this card. What a garbage counterspell. You may target counterspell. Yeah, if you just happen to have 4 mana open of 2 different colors. Fuck this card. So garbage. Did I click? Okay, I clicked. Captive Audience. I will try my best to make this work. I really like this card because I think it's so good. But it will just get counterspelled or destroyed and I'll be sad. Pretty awesome card though. We talked about the portal. We talked about... Oh, we didn't talk about the spider, but it's 5 mana. It's just a standard draft card. We'll never see play outside of draft. Too expensive. We talked about this. So, about the Captive Audience, I think there should be a good mid-range Rakdos deck that runs this, and I hope I am able to pull it off. But I think people will be focused on killing enchantments in this expansion, so I don't think this is going to work, unfortunately. Too fucking expensive. I'm so sad because I want to make this work so badly, but I think it's just too expensive. Okay, we've talked about almost all these cards. Let's see what the special one is. Spawn of Mayhem. Amazing card, I'll definitely run this. Can't wait to build a black and red aggro deck or just a black deck, honestly. We'll see how it goes. Probably going to be black and red to try out Rakdos in this expansion. Yeah, it's amazing. What do you want me to say about this card? No complaints whatsoever. It's not even legendary. Why isn't this legendary? So fucking good. Amazing. Um, Next one, Ceruli Caretaker, 1 mana, Defender, 0-3, it's green. I think that's why it's useless. Why wouldn't you just have a normal Dryad or a Llanowar of Elves? Mm, Honestly, wouldn't. I guess if you want to be even more defensive, you could run this. But you're going to tap it for mana anyway. Who cares if you have 3 HP? It's harder to kill. Okay, this card could be mediocre to good, I would say. Fair enough, fair enough. This card could be good. It's just a very good defensive ram card. I think I'm being too harsh on this card. Actually, I think it's actually good. I spoke too quickly. Robo Slinger, 3 mana, reach, 2-3, garbage. Final payment, 2 mana. As an additional cost to the spell, pay 5 life. Or sacrifice a creature or enchantment, destroy target creature. I like this. Do you know why I like this? Orzhov has so many ways to gain life and almost no ways to use that life. I should have put this card in my main video with the 50 cards. I think this is decent. Actually, I think this is pretty good. Great replacement for cast down, and honestly it feels better than cast down as long as you're playing Orzhov, of course. Yeah, amazing card, I would say. Paying 5 life is perfect. I don't give a fuck about my life total as Orzhov. I'll try this card out. Maybe 2 cast down and 2 of these, just to have some flexibility. Amazing pack. Who's next? We talked about these 3. Twilight Panther, 1 mana, 1-2, gains death touch until end of turn. Why would you spend mana for this when you can do it much cheaper? Useless. Pegasus, we talked about this, useless. Orzhov Enforcer, 2 mana, 1-2, death touch, Afterlife 1. This is so sticky on the board. Decent enough, decent enough. Mediocre to good, I would say, but too defensive for me. Gateway Sneak, 3 mana. Whenever gate enters the battlefield, can be blocked. This creature can be blocked. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. How many gates are you going to use though? Mediocre. I hate this because it's so garbage. Maybe in a dragons deck though. There aren't that many dragons, so maybe in a mono red dragons deck if you feel like playing that. It's not legendary, which is good, but and it does have Riot. Maybe again I'm being too harsh. If you pay 4 mana, it deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets, so it deals 2 damage. It can do it to your opponent's face. And you can only activate this if you have a 1-1 counter, so if you used the 1-1 on the Riot mechanic. Mediocre to good. Especially in a Dragons deck, this is pretty good, but who plays Dragon decks? Actually, that's funny because I do. I could give this a shot. It's not too bad. Mono red though. Who plays Dragon deck mono red when you can just play mono red and win instead? Mono blue, mono blue. Fuck Mew. Fuck this game. So fucking good. Knight of Sorrows. Can block an additional creature each combat. It has 3 HP though. And it costs 5 mana. Fuck that. Garbage. Garbage. Clear the Mind. We talked about mono blue already. Pestilent Spirit, second one. Awesome. Not legendary, of course. Rhythm of the Wild. This is the best card in the GRU expansion, I think. Creature spells you control can be countered. Fuck all the blue cards. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. Amazing. Phenomenal. Amazing card. I love this card. Every single GRU deck will run 4 of these. I wonder if it stacks. The non-token creatures you control have Riot. Oh, I hope this stacks. GRU will roll people fucking over with this card. And I think the 3 mana cost is reasonable. I'm getting a lot of good cards. Noxious Corrosion. What is this? It's so ugly in an adorable way. We already have this card. That Golgari card with the cooler art. Uh, Mediocre. Honestly, it's bad. Because the other one is flexible. The other one you can play in a green deck or a black deck or a Golgari deck. This you can only play in a black deck. It's garbage. Garbage. Storm Strike, 1 mana. Target creature gets 1 and 0 and gains first strike. Scurry 1. Why not just give your creature plus 3 attack and first strike? Because it costs 2 mana, demon. Uh, Alright, it's decent, but what deck are you going to put this in? Not an aggro deck. Mediocre. Azorius Rocket, oh the Rockets are garbage. Windstorm Drake, not a dragon, unfortunately. 3-3, flying, other creatures you control with flying get 1 and 0. Some potential, but too slow. The good doggo. Trash and Threat, decent card. Fairly decent card. I wouldn't run more than 1 or 2 of these though. In a grow deck. Definitely not worth being a rare. Yeah, Collision and Colossus is just much better. When talking about Gru, I've talked about most of these cards already. Rubbo Belt Recluse, 5 mana, 6/5. Attacks each combat if able. I hate not having control. I love ogres and orcs, but no from me, dog. Too garbage, too slow. Burn Bright, I love the art. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. It's an instant card. Not too bad. You could run one of these. It's fine. Godless Shrine. Sounds like my apartment. As Godless Shrine enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Oh, so this is a land? I'm such a fucking idiot. Amazing card, yeah, definitely putting this in. It's a rare though, fuck. I don't want to spend my rares on lands and it's so worth it. We talked about Mortify. We talked about the Rocket. Azorius Skyguard. Flying, first strike, 5 mana though. Creatures your opponent controls get -1/-0. Mediocre.
Careful. I'm alright, nada.
This guy sounds fun. Weaker than the 3 mana card, honestly. But why not? Decent enough. Would run this guy. Just to try him out. Maybe one of him. As if I'm going to get a second one. Savage Smash, 3 mana. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. Can it still attack though? Maybe. Seems mediocre. If you can still attack anyway after fighting the creature, it's fine. Otherwise, no. Iromunculus. 3 mana, flying, 2/3. Decent enough. 4 mana to adapt 1. No. Too slow. Carry on Imp. Oh, he's so cute. Flying, 2/3, 4 mana. Already seems bad. Enters the battlefield. You may exile target creature card from your graveyard. If you do gain 2 life, pay 4 mana to gain 2. Fuck that card. Garbage. 22 left. We're halfway there. Let's start off with the bottom row. Undercity Scavenger. This has some small amount of potential. 4 mana, 3/3. Enters the battlefield. You may sacrifice another creature. If you do, put 2 1/1 counters on him, then scurry 2. Small amount of potential, but wouldn't put more than one of these guys in. Territorial Boar. Whenever creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, this gains 1/1 in vigilance until end of turn. Absolute trash. They're much better 2-drops. Watchful Giant, 6 mana, already feels weak. Whenever Watchful Giant enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So just once. You're going to bounce this and play it again. Fuck that. Garbage, feels weak. Hackrobat, I'm definitely going to be running this. It made my top 50 list. I underestimated this card at first, but for only 2 mana, pretty fucking good, I would say. Would definitely give this a shot.
I heard you had some dead things that needed to stay dead.
This didn't make the list, by the way. In my top 50 list, I didn't put a legendary planeswalker. So let's find out why this is so garbage. 3 mana, decent already. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life, at least one creature, if at least one creature was exiled this way. So, 1 loyalty counter to gain 2 life. So slow. Okay, exile target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less. What? So you're telling me you're going to waste a loyalty counter to kill a 1-drop? What? Okay, so the -5 has to make up for these garbage fucking +1 and -1s. Kaya, Orzhov Usurper deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile. And you gain that much life. This is a one-time thing though. She's so slow and so bad. Fuck that. Too fucking... doesn't affect the game, honestly. How would this ever affect the game? I think this is just trash. Let's put it this way, the Hackrobat has me more excited. I can't believe this girl is the cover art, that card is the cover art. So bad. Any new cards here? I just love this card. Deface, 1 mana, destroy target artifact or target creature with defender. 2 conditional. Senate Guildmage, amazing. You gain 2 life or you draw a card and discard a card, how red of you. Yeah, definitely would run this in every Azor deck. Mesmerizing Bentet. I didn't put this in my top 50, but it has potential. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 O2 blue illusion creature tokens with whenever this creature blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So fucking good. Do the blue illusion creatures fly though? I don't think so, right? And this doesn't fly as well, so it doesn't have evasion. Whenever this has the illusion still alive, it has hexproof. I think this is mediocre. Could be fun though. Yeah, could be fun because it's not legendary. But it is mythic, so how many of these are you going to have? Aggressively mediocre, I would say. Could be fun though. Next pack. Now I'm in the middle. We're going faster now because I went through all the common cards. Pretty much. Angelic Exaltation. 4 mana, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets XX until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This has potential. I didn't put this in my top 50, but maybe I should have. This has a lot of potential, and it perfectly plays around things like that bullshit card that exiles all your attacking creatures. Can't exile all my creatures if only one creature is attacking, can you? If you get to attack with a creature that has trample, this card is amazing. So yeah, I would say this has potential. I could try it out. I'd say this is average to good. Basilica Bellhound, I put this in my top 50, but honestly maybe I shouldn't have. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card and you gain 3 life. Mediocre to good. If you play this on turn 4, it's decent against aggro, otherwise it's just a garbage fucking card, I think. Immolation Shaman. 2 mana, 1/3. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability though. Immolation Shaman deals 1 damage to that player. Pay 5 mana to get +3/+3 and menace only until end of turn. Slow, conditional, garbage. Syndicate Messenger. 2/3, 4 mana, garbage. Pharaoh Maka, oh so cute. 2/2, 2 mana, this is made for draft, not good. Screaming Shield. Equipped creature gets +0/+3 and has 2 mana, target player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. There are much easier ways to mill someone. Fuck that. And if you're a Golgari player, there are much easier ways to kill your own library. The slowest ramp in the world. I might try this, but honestly, it feels garbage. Elf Ooze though. Ooze Wizard. I wonder if that mythic Ooze card counts this as an Ooze. Maybe it could have some synergy in that case. Maybe. Catacomb Crocodile. I am Sewer King, said Rat. I am quick and cunning, and I know every tunnel. No, I am king, said Zombie. I am cold and deadly, and rot cannot harm me. Then Croc came and ate them both. That's what I think about this card. Some fresh cards. This is the cutest thing in the world. Oh, it's so cute. Scuttlegator. 6 mana, 6/6. Defender. Why does it have Defender? What a waste. Pay 8 mana to adapt 3. As long as it has a counter, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Mediocre to good. I'd say mediocre. So cute though. Spike Wheel Acrobat. So many acrobats. Only 2 HP on a 4 drop. Garbage. It can be a 3 drop. If it's a 3 drop, I still don't like 2 HP. And it doesn't have any evasion like Menace or Flying. Too mediocre. Sauroform Hybrid. 2 mana, has the ability to adapt if you pay 6 mana. Mediocre, honestly. Goblin is the worst card in the expansion. Blood Mist Infiltrator. 3 mana, 3/1. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, it can't be blocked. So garbage. Consecrate, 2 mana, exile target card from a graveyard, draw a card. So basically 2 mana, draw a card. With a benefit that you can exile something. Mediocre. White and black doesn't really need to draw cards this way. Consume, 4 mana. Target player sacrifices a creature with the greatest power. You gain life equal to its power. This card might be mediocre to good overall, combining both effects, but I wouldn't run more than one of these. I think this is garbage, but I don't plan on playing Simic too much, so maybe that's why. Whenever you put a 1/1 counter on it, you can draw another one, so if you have very poor card draw in your deck, you can guarantee with 4 of these that you always have a creature, as long as you can keep putting 1/1s on him, of course. It's an Elf Crab Warrior, it's not a Merfolk, so I don't know. I don't know, this is mediocre to good. We talked about this card. Collision and Colossus, that's the third one, I think. Wow. Sage Row Savant. Enters the battlefield, Scurry 2. Mediocre to good. I love goblins. I wish there were goblin decks that are actually cool. Pay 4 mana to get 2/2. Until end of turn only. Garbage. Rubo Belt Runner. 3 mana. Can't be blocked by creature tokens, but anyone else can block him. Garbage. Sylvan Brush Strider. Cute art. Is that supposed to be a giraffe? Or some sort of mutant? When it enters the battlefield you gain 2 life. Yeah, but is it worth a card swat? I don't think so. Ooh, rare wild card. Pretty good. I have a lot of wild cards that I will be spending. Another mythic. Sagittarius Volley. Mediocre. Unimpressive. Pitiless Pontiff. I saw this card and honestly it felt pathetic. Sacrifice another creature to gain Death Touch and Indestructible. Holy fuck. Unless you have a million tokens, And even then, it's just a 2-drop. Let it go. Let it fucking go. It's just a 2-drop. Wilderness Reclamation 4 mana at the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Ah, great. More ways for boring control decks to be overpowered. Guess I'm playing Simic. Only 15 to go. A lot of cards I'm still missing. Second weakest card in the expansion. Wow, I've seen all these cards already. Teysa Karwolf. Pretty, 4 mana. Legendary though. Vigilance and Lifelink, decent. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay, so this is the card that makes Afterlife worth it. I guess if you're into the new mechanic, the Afterlife mechanic, you can play this. Feels incredibly weak though and slow, and they can just kill her. Honestly, it feels mediocre. I'm really disappointed with Orzhov. I liked them better before the expansion. Plague White, 2 mana, 2/1, zombie decks unite. Whenever it becomes blocked, each creature blocking it gets 1/1, -1/-1 until end of turn. Could be decent, but whatever. Maybe in a zombie deck. Dot co-ops, fuck blue and everything it stands for. Amazing card. Burn Bright, we talked about this. Senate Griffin, 4 mana, flexible mana. I always like flexible mana. When it enters the battlefield, scurry 1. Decent card with evade and flexibility, I like it. Mediocre to good. The best card in the game. Second time. I wish there was a better animation when you open a mythic. Feels underwhelming when it should be the best feeling in the game. Root Snare. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. There's an M19 card that does the same thing and it doesn't get used, so I assume this won't get used either. But I don't understand why people don't use this. I don't use this either, but I think it's decent. Drill Bit. 3 mana, Spectacle is 1 mana. Target player reviews their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, that player discards that card. Very decent. I could see this card getting run. Average to good. The only problem with all these Spectacle cards is how are you going to keep hitting them in the face every turn? If you're hitting them in the face every single turn, aren't you winning anyway? That's the only problem I have with the new Spectacle mechanic. I talked about Revival and Revenge in my video. Double your life total, target opponent loses half their life, rounded up. So fucking slow. So slow and so bad. Revival has potential though. In my video I said this isn't worth it unless you get a 3-drop from your grave onto the battlefield. Obviously it's also worth it for some 2-drops. Decent card. Okay, I've talked about all these cards maybe. Search your library for a basic card or gate, review it, put it into your hand, shuffle your... too slow. Too slow and too weak. There's a better card in Selesnya that lets you do this, that also has a second part that lets you kill the opponent because it buffs all your creatures. This is just not good enough for a card slot. Sky Tether, 1 mana. Enchanted creature has defender and loses flying. It has defender though, it can still block. Garbage, absolute garbage. Lovely art. 2 mana, haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice a creature and then deal 2 damage to a target opponent or planeswalker. If you can generate a lot of tokens with red and black, could be decent, otherwise garbage. Why? Does this have to be my second mythic? Garbage. I don't get it. 7 mana, it's so garbage. If it's not garbage, please explain to me why not. Amazing card. High Alert is one of the cards that enables a complete deck. And each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have defender, and it even has a special active ability you might want to use. Amazing card. Azor is going to love this card. Sentinel's Mark, 2 mana, flash, so very good. It works like an instant. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2 and has vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast this during your main phase, enchanted creature gains lifelink until end of turn. You don't really have to cast this during your main phase though. So good, average to good, I would say. Garbage. 2 mana, 2/1. During your turn, spells your opponent casts cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponent activates cost 1 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. What does that even mean? Fucking garbage. Low Mage's Binding, pretty cool card if you're going to be playing Azor. Flash and basically works like Luminous Bonds. And they can't activate abilities. Amazing. Second Blade Juggler, awesome. Grasping Throw, 5 mana, 3/3, flying. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to opponent and you gain 2 life. Too slow, too bad. Anything else? Shimmer of Possibility, 2 mana. I love the art. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library. This is a very aggressive scurry, very aggressive way to look for something specific. Could be decent as a one-off in your deck. If you're trying to find something. Only 10 to go. I'm going to hit an hour, unfortunately. I was too slow. Regenesis, 5 mana. Return up to 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand though. How black of you. Too slow, too garbage. Mirror March, I wish this could be good, but this will just get destroyed or counterspelled, just like the Rakdos enchantment, so I'm going to love it if I can get this to work, but I don't have my hopes too high for this card. I put it in my top 50 though, because I think it's an amazing gimmick. Dagger Caster, 4 mana, 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage to opponent and 1 to each creature your opponent controls. Feels like a slower Chainmail, Whipper, what's it called? The 3-drop that deals 1 damage to everyone, your opponent and all creatures. Too slow. Irrelevant, I would say. Cool art though. And I've talked about all the rest of these cards. Only 9 to go. Shout out to day 9. Throwbred Guardian, 5 mana. Cool alternative to that elephant if you're going to have 1/1 counters on everyone anyway. Slightly conditional and slightly slow though, I'd say average. Combined Guildmage. Why didn't I have this in my top 50? Let's see. 2 mana. This turn each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. But this is going to ruin all your adapt abilities. Right? Yeah, this ruins adapt. And the second effect is garbage, that's why I didn't put it in my top 50. This card is counterintuitive to the new adapt mechanic. I debated putting this in. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 mana. If that player doesn't, create a colorless treasure artifact token with sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. If this card was blue, Jesus Christ, because you could use it in a 1000-year storm or 100-year storm, whatever the fuck deck, and fucking roll them over with infinite mana. But because it's white, I think this is mediocre to good only. And eventually they'll be able to pay the mana and fuck you over, so I think this is just mediocre. Because of its color and because the opponent can pay mana to fuck you. To fuck your plan, if your plan is revolved around this card, I mean. I've talked about the rest of the cards. Two mana. Sacrifice it, gain control of target creature with power 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste. Activate this only when you would activate the sorcery. So this is Act of Treason for an additional 2 mana. Why? Pointless. We already talked about this, garbage. Rakdos Roostabout. 3 mana, 3/2. When it becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. Seems weak. If it had trample, it would be better. 3 mana, exile target creature with power 4 or greater. Why? Too slow. Too conditional. Underwhelming cards at the end, I would say. Cool, final payment again. Running 2 of these seems ideal. Another Azorius Knight, and I can now use him, thanks to that 1 card. Code of Constraint, 3 mana. Target creature gets -4, -0 until end of turn, draw a card. 3 mana though. If you cast this during your main phase, tap that creature and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Mediocre to good, but I wouldn't use this, honestly. Rally to battle. There's a green card, a green and white card that does this already and people don't use this. And then don't use it, so I assume they won't use this either. Is it? What are you doing in this expansion? As soon as you see the art, you just know. 2 mana. Electro Dominance deals X damage to any target. You may cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, an alternative to Banefire, a slightly more expensive alternative to Banefire that also lets you play another card, but this can get counterspelled, and Banefire is better by default because of this. So, I think this is a worse version of Banefire, unfortunately. For what you're going to end up using it, I mean. 6 mana, looks ugly as fuck, looks like the thing from the Fantastic Four. When Rumbling Ruin enters the battlefield, count the number of 1/1 counters on creatures you control. Creatures your opponent controls with power less than or equal to that number can block this turn. What a weak finisher. I don't want this. Simic Wocket. I love the art on the Wockets, but they're just bad. Tome of the Guild Pact, 5 mana, I already lost interest. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, draw a card, too slow. Galloping Lizrock, 5 mana, 3/3, trample. When it enters the battlefield, you may remove any number of 1/1 counters from among creatures you control. If you do, put twice that many 1/1s on the Lizrock. Mediocre to good, I would say. Really depends on your deck construction. I can't think of a deck where this would be amazing, and you're stacking all your threat levels on one creature, and it's very easy to kill creatures, so I'd say this is just average. Anything else? Oh, would you look at that? Another Mill card. I sincerely hope the first deck I play in this expansion isn't Mill. That feels like giving up on the game. Dovin's Acuity, pretty good. It's the disinformation campaign for Azor. You gain life and draw a card, and you bounce this. So pretty cool card. Second Theater of Horrors, perfect. I would run 2 of these in my deck, so already perfect, just so I can play one of them. Anything else? Slimebind, 2 mana, too irrelevant. Exposed to Daylight, 3 mana, destroy target artifact or enchantment. This could actually see some play because there's so many enchantments. I can't think of a better way to kill enchantments off the top of my head. Conclave Tribunal, just an Ixalan Binding, just take them away. And they can be destroyed as well, so your opponent can get their shit back. This could see some play, honestly. Too many enchantments in this expansion. Like this. So many cool enchantments in this expansion, I should say. It's going to become more and more important to be able to destroy them. I overlooked this card, but it's actually pretty fun. 1 mana, 1/1 flying, Salamander Drake. 8 mana, adapt 4, disability costs 1 less to activate for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. Amazing card, actually. I think this is great to amazing in mono blue. Because you can play very dastardly mono blue decks, and this card is perfect for the 1 drop. Uh, it only feels slightly bad because you are probably going to have to cut those counterspell 1 drops, and we all know how much blue hates not having counterspells. But if you don't want to be less of an asshole playing blue, this seems like a cool card you could run. Uh, one of these in any blue deck I think is cool. Would run this. Final payment, this is the 3rd one. I don't know if running 3 of them is worth it, but I'll see if I even end up playing Korzov in this expansion. It just feels so weak. I could just play an old Vampires deck though, and just put this in. Get to the point, I'm trying. Prying Eyes, 6 mana, draw 4 cards and discard 2 cards. Much better ways to do this. This isn't good. You don't want your turn 6 to be drawing cards. Let's put it that way. Another counterspell. I'll be playing fucking Mew. Fuck my life. Enraged Ceratok, 4 mana, 4/4. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. There are better cards than this. 1 mana. Adapt 1 for 2 mana. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on this, draw a card and discard a card. Decent enough. Mediocre to good. Final pack. Going out with a whimper. Bladebrand. And you do draw a card. Could be fun to have one of these, but it doesn't really feel worth the card swap. It does replace itself though, so it's better than some other cards.
Oh, I look forward to seeing you running away.
That's unfortunate because he's not that good, but can't complain about getting a mythic. Suffering from success. So, that's going to be it for my 40 cards. Let's enable the Ravnica Allegiance cards. I definitely didn't get a lot of cards I wanted, but still, got a ton of cards. I have a lot of wild cards, so I'll be able to, you know, craft whatever I need. I have 11 mythics, come on. I wanted more of these, honestly, and it's rare, so I don't see myself crafting it, but we'll see. Especially because you get packs every single week. Okay, so let's quickly go and spot whatever I missed. I missed this guy who I wanted to give a shot. He was in my top 50. Garbage, I'm so glad I didn't get this. Terrible Angel. Anything important I missed? Let's see. Not fucking really. This is so cool. The Sphinx. So fucking strong. Could have gotten that. Anything else? Mass manipulation. Anything else? Is there no one else? Got 1 Spawn of Mayhem. Could have used the second one. Anything else? Oh yeah, I wanted one of these at least. Whatever. Whatever. And I didn't get any dual lands of the new ones. That was unfortunate. I got quite a few mythics I don't like though, which was sad. Anything else? A lot of Simic cards I didn't get, like this one. So sad. This is actually more of a mono green card than anything else, or a Golgari card, but whatever. I really wanted one of these at least. What else? What else? A lot of Azor cards I didn't get as well. I got some though, like this one and this one. Can't complain too much, I think. I can always complain. Don't underestimate my power to complain. This might actually have some potential, maybe I was too harsh. It is a vampire, so I can just buff it with my Legion commander. I'll see about this boring afterlife mechanic if I can make it work. Um, Anything else? Yeah, I didn't get the footline fiend. That's so sad. Oops. Oh, I didn't get Bedevo as well. So many rare cards I didn't get that I need. Anything else? Could have used one of these. I actually got an underwhelming amount of cards. So many duplicates. Didn't get the showstopper. How am I going to win now without Harvey Dent? I feel pretty good about my chances with Gruul, actually. Though, obviously, I didn't get any of these guys. So cool. Anything else? 4 of these. I feel almost obliged to play a broken Merfolk deck now. Only one mutant. And the adapt mechanic feels fucking weak, so... what else? Wow, that's actually it. I didn't actually miss too much. Going to need some gates, which I won't craft. But yeah, I actually didn't miss too much. Let's activate the special filter. The what I wish I could have gotten filter. So yeah, definitely wanted to lose. I could have used one of these if I went up playing with the afterlife mechanic. And also I wanted the Rakdos showstopper for the meme. But yeah, so basically I just missed use. That's the only good mythic I didn't get. What I did get though, a lot of cool cards actually. Yeah, I can't complain. Let's not bitch and moan when I got a lot of good cards. Let's check the rares though. This is where it's going to hurt because I missed a lot of cards. This is so cool, this is so cool. Maybe I didn't miss as badly as I thought. Nah, this is so cool. What else? I guess I didn't miss too heavily. I got a lot of cards. Anyway, it's getting boring now. My next video or stream is going to be when I eventually assemble some fucking decks and start playing the game. Sorry, I'm not going to be playing anytime soon. Probably playing this weekend whenever this video gets uploaded though. So I don't know if I'm even uploading this until the end of the week. My schedule just doesn't allow me right now to start playing seriously. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait a bit longer. I really thought the expansion was dropping on the 25th, but I still hope you enjoyed this video. We got some decent cards, and I hope we're in for some pretty cool games. I hope I'll be able to show off Rakdos and Gruul, and maybe some Azor as well. Thanks as always for watching this video. See you on the next one or stream. Make sure you follow my Twitch for this fucking game. See you on the next video or stream, whenever the fuck that is. Bye.